When it came time to submit our college applications, Marcus and Iris started arguing over whether to choose Tsinghua University or Peking University. One was my childhood sweetheart, the other was my best friend. But there was no room for me in their conversation. Just like every monthly exam, their names were always side by side at the top of the rankings, taking turns being number one. No matter how hard I studied, the best I could ever do was 50th place. I didn't even belong on the same page as them. Neither of them would back down, so they went off to argue with our teacher. Neither of them noticed they had left me behind. It wasn't until 10 minutes before the application deadline that Marcus finally called me. Iris and I both applied to Peking University. You should apply to Peking Foreign Studies University. It's the closest school to us. Happy now? But this time, I didn't want to keep chasing after them anymore. I applied to the university I truly wanted. From then on, we would be separated by north and south. There would be no need to meet again. Chapter 1. The application system was counting down its final seconds. I clicked submit, leaned back in my chair, and let out a long breath of relief. Messages from Marcus kept pouring in. Clara, you little goofball. Did you finish everything? I'm not there with you, so double check everything, okay? Once you're done, hurry over. Don't be late for the graduation banquet. I glanced through them and replied, done. A bunny blowing a kiss sticker popped up on my screen. Then a voice message arrived. Clara, hurry over. Your boyfriend's bullying me again. A second later, Marcus's voice came through. Who's bullying you? The voice message lasted 60 seconds. The first 10 seconds were Iris complaining. The remaining 50 were just the two of them bickering. The application system closed. I shut my laptop, changed my clothes, and headed out. In the living room, my parents were eating the leftover spicy shrimp from lunch. Neither of them could handle spicy food, but they hated wasting food, so they kept gulping down water while peeling shrimp. The meal had originally been prepared for Marcus and Iris. Today was the last day to submit college applications. My parents didn't know much about the application process, so they had cooked a feast and invited Marcus and Iris over, hoping they could help me choose a university and a major. At first, the two of them really did flip through the application guide with me. Patting her chest confidently, Iris said, "Don't worry, with me here, I'll definitely help Clara find a great university that's close to me." Marcus immediately objected. "Clara's with me. Why should she stay close to you? Once you get into Peking University, don't come hanging around Tsinghua." Hands on her hips, Iris shot back. "Oh please, you Tsinghua people can stay away from Peking University too." And just like that, they started arguing again. I tried several times to interrupt them and calm them down. Neither of them paid me any attention. By the time I came back with the drinks, they had already walked away. I stood there for a long time, so long that the ice in my milk tea had completely melted in my hands. Still, no one came back to look for me. My application guide had been left on the table, just like me. "Sweetheart, did you finish your applications?" Mom quickly wiped her hands and asked, "Which university in Peking did you choose?" I shook my head. "Not one in Peking. I chose Southern University." Both of my parents froze. "Southern University? That's in South City. Weren't you planning to go to Peking with Marcus and Iris?" Mom looked at me gently. "Did you and Marcus have a fight?" "Southern University is a wonderful school, but it's so far from Peking. It'll be hard for you to see Marcus." I had been holding back, but the moment she asked, my nose started to sting. I couldn't blame her for thinking that. Marcus and I had been childhood sweethearts. I'd followed him around ever since we were kids. When we took the high school entrance exam, Marcus was admitted directly to No. 1 high school, the elite school I could never have reached on my own. I cried so hard that day, clutching his uniform and refusing to let go. Marcus laughed helplessly and bent down. "What are you crying for? If it really comes to it, I'll go to a regular high school with you." Terrified he'd actually do it, I threw myself into studying. From the moment I woke up every day, all I did was study. Then luck smiled on me. Several questions on the exam were ones I'd practiced the day before. I barely made it into No. 1 high school. Marcus was obviously overjoyed, but he deliberately sighed. "I seriously don't know what to do with you. You're so attached to me. What are you going to do when college comes around? I'm aiming for Tsinghua University. Think you can make it? Tsinghua. That was probably beyond me. So I argued. Then I'll just choose a university in the same city, one that's closest to Tsinghua. He smiled. His dark eyes sparkled like they were filled with stars. Ruffling my hair, he said, all right, same city, happy now? That night after the college entrance exam, the feelings I'd hidden for years finally bloomed. The adults around us all knew, and none of them objected. But now, I didn't want that anymore. Just like I no longer cared why Marcus had changed his dream school to Peking University, when Tsinghua had always been his goal. Mom, I mean it. I wiped away my tears and smiled. I don't want to keep chasing after Marcus anymore. Southern University has the major I truly love. I want to choose a path that's mine. Mom didn't ask anything else. She simply patted my hand and smiled. My little girl has grown up. All right, this time, we'll follow your heart. Chapter 2. While I was waiting for the bus, I saw Iris post on social media. I'm so sick of someone. I already let him have my best friend, and he's still fighting me over her. Marcus replied almost immediately. What do you mean you let me? Clara has always been mine. Back and forth they went. In less than 30 seconds, the comments section was flooded. One of our classmates tagged me. The year's top 2 are fighting over you again. If it had been before, I would have rushed into the comments, comforting one and then the other, genuinely believing I was the center of everyone's world. Now, it just felt ridiculous. The moment I walked into the private room, I saw Marcus and Iris huddled together playing Honor of Kings. For all the arguing they did, once they got into a game, one played marksman and the other support. Their teamwork was flawless. I deliberately picked a seat far away from them. The moment I sat down, Marcus walked over and flicked my forehead. What's wrong with our little princess? Don't tell me you're ignoring your boyfriend now. He was someone I'd depended on my entire life. I'd already made up my mind, but hearing that familiar, affectionate tone still made my nose sting. I looked up at him. His soft bangs rested across his forehead, and his bright dark eyes carried the confidence he'd always had. Growing up, Marcus had always been the perfect kid everyone talked about. Handsome, brilliant. Countless girls had crushed on him. I suddenly remembered Iris once asking me, "Come clean, how did you manage to lock down a catch like Marcus?" I also remembered Marcus laughing in surprise the first time Iris beat him for first place. Not bad. Clara, you're such a goofball, yet somehow you made friends with a genius. I couldn't even remember when he'd started calling me goofball. Once, I got flamed so badly in a game that I burst into tears. Marcus immediately defended me and argued back for me. But after taking off his headset, he still laughed. Clara, how come you're bad at everything? I can forgive you for not being great at studying, but how are you this bad at games too? Look at Iris. She's a beast both in school and in games. Before I could say anything, Iris stepped in front of me. Hey, who gave you permission to talk about Clara like that? So what if she's a little clueless? That's what makes her adorable. Back then, I was too naive. I was always afraid I wasn't good enough. Afraid I'd hold them back. So I'd stay up late studying. I'd even secretly practice games behind their backs. When I finally fought my way up to 50th in the grade, all I got from Marcus was, "See? My little goofball, you're still not on the same page as us." Later, after I'd spent ages mastering a new hero, I excitedly asked them to queue with me, only to see Iris had picked the exact same hero. Marcus rubbed my head. Be good. This match is important. Let Iris play. You can just watch us this time. Iris wrapped an arm around my shoulders. If we win, I'll buy you the new skin. Be good. From beginning to end, no one ever let me finish the sentence I'd wanted to say. I've practiced for so long. I can do it too. I've already forgotten how I felt that day. I only remember the two of them laughing and having fun together, while I sat off to the side, zoning out for the entire afternoon. Fortunately, I no longer had to force myself to do things I didn't even enjoy just to keep chasing after someone, and admitting that there were things Iris was better at than me wasn't something to be ashamed of. Chapter 3. What are you spacing out about now? Marcus pinched my cheek. You finished your applications, right? You little scatterbrain. I asked you to send me a screenshot. But you wouldn't. I was worried sick. I wanted to ask him, if you were really worried about me, why did you leave me behind? But some questions weren't worth asking anymore. Marcus. I applied to. Before I could finish, Iris ran over. Marcus. Are you talking behind my back to Clara again? She looped her arm tightly through mine and glared at him. Clara's mine. Don't even think about stealing her. Marcus scoffed. Get it straight. She's my future wife. The two of them each grabbed one of my arms. Neither was willing to let go. Our classmates burst into laughter, but I couldn't laugh at all. I need to use the restroom. You're hurting me. They were too busy bickering to hear me. The voices I used to love hearing now felt like two hammers pounding against my temples from both sides. Irritated. More irritated than I'd ever been before. Let go of me. I yanked my arms free and shouted. Both of them froze. The room fell silent for a brief moment. Then, someone let out a laugh. Like a balloon had suddenly burst. Our little princess is throwing a tantrum. Marcus teased, ruffling my hair. Iris kicked him lightly. It's your fault for bullying me. You made my best friend mad. Apologize to me. Marcus snorted. Please. Clara's obviously mad because she can't stand you picking on me. Chapter 4. Here we go again. A suffocating feeling washed over me. It was as if they couldn't hear a single word I said. As if they couldn't sense how frustrated I was. As if I didn't exist. The dishes were served. Everyone started taking their seats. Marcus reached for my hand. Come on, let's eat. Forget about her. Iris hugged my arm even tighter. In your dreams, my Clara is sitting next to me. I closed my eyes. A wave of nausea churned in my stomach. Suddenly, I remembered something I'd once heard. When someone doesn't care about you, even if you're hanging yourself, they'll think you're just swinging. Marcus. Let's break up. The argument stopped instantly. Marcus stared at me in shock, as though he hadn't processed what I'd just said. Iris, however, burst out laughing. What did he do this time? Tell me, I'll beat him up for you. But don't break up with him. I don't want another midnight phone call with you crying about how much you miss him. Marcus finally came back to his senses and rubbed his forehead with a laugh. All right, even if we're breaking up. Let's eat first. Otherwise you'll get hungry tonight and make me drive halfway across town to buy you barbecue again. Come here, let your boyfriend make it up to you. He reached out to hug me. I shoved him away without thinking. The water pitcher on the sideboard crashed onto the floor. Ice water splashed everywhere. The loud noise made everyone turn to look. Marcus's face darkened immediately. Iris quickly lowered her voice. Sweetie, if he's being a jerk, deal with him after you get home. Don't embarrass him in front of everyone. You know how much he cares about saving face. I stared at her in disbelief. She tilted her head toward Marcus, silently telling me to go comfort him. A bitter sense of absurdity rose inside me. My best friend, at a moment like this, was worried about protecting my boyfriend's pride. I suddenly smiled. The anger inside me slowly burned itself out. All that remained was cold ash. I looked at Marcus calmly. I said, we're over. Iris opened her mouth, still trying to persuade me. Marcus let out a cold laugh instead. Fine. If that's what you want, then we're done. What a terrible temper. Do you seriously think you're some princess and the whole world has to revolve around you? Iris. Let's go eat. Don't let certain people ruin everyone's mood. Chapter 5. After lunch, someone suggested we all head to a KTV. I didn't go. While I was waiting for my ride, Iris came over. Marcus stood a short distance away, staring at his phone without sparing me a single glance. Clara, are you still upset about what happened this afternoon? Iris asked carefully. Don't be mad. Marcus and I didn't mean to leave you behind. We just wanted to decide between Tsinghua and Peking University first, so we could help you pick the best school. If this had happened before, I probably would have believed her. Now, it just sounded hypocritical, so they knew I'd be hurt if they left me behind. And they still did it, because my feelings had never mattered to them. I suddenly realized, the two of them were exactly alike. Proud, arrogant, always looking down from above. They had never truly listened to what I said, cared about how I felt, or treated me as an equal. To them, I was nothing more than a pet that followed its owners around. They were certain I would never leave them, no matter how hurt or wronged I felt. But all I'd ever given them was my whole heart. How cruel they were. Don't be mad anymore. I'm apologizing, okay? Iris held my hand, trying to comfort me, then turned toward Marcus. You two are unbelievable. One's too sensitive, and the other's too stubborn. Come on, do it for me. Make up already. The three of us are supposed to go to Peking together. Marcus, come here. Without even looking up, Marcus replied. No, Iris sighed. Then, Clara, you go. Give him a hug. I promise he'll behave like a puppy. She was right. Every time we'd argued before, I'd always listened to Iris and been the first to make peace. But not this time. Just as I was about to refuse, a motorcycle sped toward us. It was about to brush right past Iris. Almost instinctively, I reached out and pulled her back. I wasn't very strong, but Iris lost her balance and slammed her knee into the edge of a flower planter. The ceramic edge struck her hard enough that her face instantly turned pale. Marcus's expression changed. He shoved his phone into his pocket and rushed over, glaring at me. Clara, have you had enough? Is this really because I didn't stay with you while you filled out your applications? You're throwing this big of a tantrum over that? Pushing me is one thing, but Iris never did anything to you. What gives you the right to push her? I didn't push her. I was just... Marcus. Don't yell at Clara. Iris struggled to her feet, leaning against the planter. It was my own fault. I'm fine. A little antiseptic is all I need. A little antiseptic? Marcus frowned as he looked at her swollen knee. It's already swelling up. What if it's fractured? Come on. I'm taking you to the hospital. He helped Iris up and flagged down a taxi. Seeing how badly her knee had swollen, my heart tightened. I hurried after them, but before I could reach the car, the taxi door slammed shut with a loud bang. Chapter 6. An hour later, I received a message from Iris. Clara, don't blame yourself. I'm fine. And don't be mad at Marcus. He really cares about you. He's been checking his phone all night, waiting for a message from you. I turned my phone face down on the bed and pulled the blanket over my head. Iris and I had become classmates in our first year of high school. We hadn't been close at first. Later, I sprained my ankle during PE. She took me to the school clinic and stayed with me, chatting until Marcus came to pick me up. After that, the three of us became inseparable. Marcus and Iris also grew closer. They discussed homework together, played games together, and little by little became good friends. It wasn't like I'd never heard the rumors. Some classmates would joke, "Do you think Iris is trying to steal your boyfriend?" I never believed them. I'd even secretly been annoyed at people for spreading gossip. But now, I couldn't help reevaluating our friendship. Iris knew exactly what had happened tonight, yet she brushed it off so casually, letting Marcus misunderstand me. Even so, I still didn't want to believe the worst about my best friend. Just then, my phone buzzed again. It was a message from our class monitor. We'd always gotten along well. Clara, I came across a post online. You should probably take a look. Curious. I tapped the link. The moment I opened it, my whole body went cold. Post after post, every single one was filled with someone's obsessive feelings for another person. I met this guy today. He's tall, handsome, total campus heartthrob material, but his eyes are only on his childhood sweetheart. She's just some girl who barely got into our school. Why does she deserve him? During shuttle runs today, I secretly stuck out my foot and tripped her. I got to stay with her in the clinic all afternoon, and finally met him. I'm friends with him now. We spent the whole afternoon discussing homework. A top student belongs with another top student. Childhood sweetheart? Move aside. Played games with him today. Seeing my friend sitting there all alone while we played together felt so satisfying. I'm such a terrible person, haha. The comment section was filled with people cursing her out, calling her manipulative, shameless, accusing her of trying to steal her friend's boyfriend. She replied, "If being shameless lets me be with the person I love, then I'm happy to be shameless. Say whatever you want." The latest post had been made just half an hour ago. I sprained my ankle today, and he took me to the hospital. Watching him run around registering me and picking up my medicine, I could barely keep my feelings for him under control. My friend isn't good enough for him. She even embarrassed him in front of the whole class today. She's just an ordinary girl who barely made the college admission cutoff. Where does she get the nerve? Once we get to college, I'm going to confess to him. He even changed his first choice university from Tsinghua to Peking University because of me. That means he likes me too, right? She'd attached a photo of herself holding a cup of milk tea. I recognized the jacket she was wearing immediately. It was the limited edition collaboration jacket I'd searched over a dozen stores to buy for Marcus's birthday last year. My tears finally spilled over. No matter how hard I wiped them away, more kept coming. They soaked the red bracelet around my wrist. It had been a gift from Iris. She told me it had been blessed for good luck and would help me ace my exams. Now, after being soaked by my tears, the red dye began to bleed, leaving faint crimson stains across my wrist. I stared at it for a moment. I tried to untie it. The knot was too tight, so I picked up a pair of scissors and cut it off with one snip. Then I searched through every drawer and cabinet in my room. Every gift Iris had ever given me. Every gift Marcus had ever given me. Every photo of the three of us together. I packed them all into a box, carried it downstairs, and threw everything into the trash. The moment I let go, I felt lighter than I had in years. I turned around, only to find Marcus and Iris standing right behind me. Chapter 7. The box wasn't sealed. At a glance, Marcus spotted the little kite he'd handcrafted for me out of wooden strips. His face darkened instantly. Fine, Clara, you win. Throw it away. Throw everything away. But don't come crying to me when you want me to make you another one. Balancing on one leg, Iris hopped over to the trash can and pulled out one of our photos. Clara, why would you even throw away our pictures together? She looked so anxious she was almost in tears. It wasn't even that big of a deal. How did things end up like this? Don't be mad anymore. I practically dragged Marcus back here to apologize to you. You dragged him here to apologize? I cut her off. What exactly are you to him? Besides, this is between Marcus and me. What gives an outsider the right to interfere? She stared at me in shock and hurriedly explained. Clara, you've got it all wrong. I just didn't want you and Marcus to fight. I only wanted you two to make up. If I hadn't seen those posts, I probably would have believed her act. You wanted us to make up, or you wanted us to break up for good. You know the answer better than anyone. Iris's eyes flew open. She looked as though she'd been deeply wounded, her whole body trembling. Clara, why would you say something like that to me? I couldn't help laughing. So you're really going to keep acting? That's enough. Marcus stepped in front of Iris, glaring at me. Clara, you've gone way too far this time. Do you have any idea how guilty Iris felt at the hospital? She saw you never replied to her messages, so she insisted on coming to apologize to you. Her leg is still injured. Can't you see that? His eyes were filled with disappointment. You used to be so sweet and understanding. So what exactly is wrong with you today? You're about to start college. Can you grow up already? Stop throwing childish tantrums. Stop making everyone around you exhausted. Think about what you're doing. If you keep acting like this, I'm done looking after you. Every word Marcus said rang clearly through the night air. Done looking after me? Was he threatening me? Did he really think I couldn't live without him? That one sentence from him would scare me into giving in? Before, he would have been right. But now, my heart was completely calm. Getting over him turned out to be much faster and much easier than I'd ever imagined. Oh, I looked at him without the slightest emotion. You don't need to look after me. We've already broken up. I've said it 3 times now. Are you incapable of understanding? I took out my phone, found his contact, blocked him, then deleted his number, all in one go. Do I need to say it a 4th time? Clara, does it really have to come to this? Iris asked anxiously. If there's a misunderstanding, we can just talk it out. Don't waste your breath. Marcus cut her off. His jaw clenched so tightly that the muscles twitched. Fine, Clara. When you get to Peking and realize you don't know anyone there, don't come crying to me. Chapter 8. I never contacted Marcus again, even when we ran into each other in the neighborhood. I walked straight past him without sparing him a glance. ignoring the sound of a plastic water bottle being crushed behind me. Iris messaged me several times. I blocked her too. What I didn't expect was to run into the two of them while scrolling through short videos. They were at an arcade. Marcus was shirtless, drying his hair with a towel. Iris held out an ice cream she'd already taken a bite from. Marcus leaned over and took a bite from the very same ice cream as if it were the most natural thing in the world. Marcus had won swimming competitions in high school. He had an incredible physique and a face that naturally drew attention. The comments were overflowing with people shipping them. When viewers found out they had both been admitted to Peking University, the comments were flooded with congratulations and wishes for them to stay together forever. I calmly swiped to the next video, then went back to planning my graduation trip. At last, the long wait was over. The moment I received my admission letter from Southern University, I screamed with excitement all over the house. Not long afterward, I packed my suitcase and traveled to Northwest China with my cousin. During the trip, I learned how to book the cheapest hotels, how to plan the best routes, how to bargain with local vendors. When my cousin's phone was stolen, I even stayed calm enough to call customer service, ask how to track the device, and report it to the police. When the phone was finally recovered, my cousin looked at me with admiration. "You're amazing, sis. That was so cool. I can't even imagine what I'd do if I were traveling alone and something like that happened." I froze. Those words sounded so familiar. A few years ago, Marcus and I had visited an ancient town together. I'd only gone to the restroom for a few minutes. By the time I came back, my phone had been stolen. I tried to find Marcus again, but every street looked exactly the same. After wandering in circles for what felt like forever, I still couldn't find him. Panic took over. My mind went completely blank. I stood there crying helplessly, until a voice came over the loudspeaker. "Attention, visitor Clara. Please come to the visitor service center. Your boyfriend is waiting for you there." Still sobbing, I asked people for directions all the way to the service center. The moment I saw Marcus, I burst into tears. Marcus laughed and pulled me into his arms. "Oh, my little goofball, what would you ever do without me?" He was right. I'd always been timid. Whenever someone bullied me as a child, Marcus was the one who stood up for me. He protected me from the age of 5 until I was 17. Somewhere along the way, both of us started believing I couldn't live without him. From the very beginning, our relationship had never been equal. Iris, on the other hand, was the complete opposite of me. She was brave enough to travel alone, brave enough to confront creeps on the bus by herself. She and Marcus were the same kind of people, confident, fearless, naturally strong, but that didn't give them the right to ignore me or look down on me. Even a tiny sapling growing through the cracks in the rocks can become a towering tree, as long as its roots dig deep enough and it never stops reaching toward the sky. From now on, even without Marcus by my side, I could walk my own path just fine. What I didn't expect was a call from Marcus's mother. She invited me to Marcus's college celebration banquet. After growing up together for so many years, I knew exactly what it meant. Marcus was trying to make peace. I politely declined. Just before the call ended, I heard the sound of a glass shattering on the other end. He was angry, but that was his problem, not mine. Chapter 9. A week before school started, I went back home. The moment I entered the neighborhood, I saw Marcus pulling a suitcase toward the gate. I didn't even look at him. I simply walked past him, but as we brushed by each other, he grabbed my wrist. Still speaking in his usual coaxing tone, he said, "Come on, are you still mad? You're really going to dump your boyfriend?" I tried to pull my hand away. He held on even tighter. "Marcus, I already told you, we've broken up." "That's what you said." "I never agreed to it." Marcus unzipped his backpack and took out a small paper box. He shoved it into my hands. "Here, I dug your little kite back out. Don't throw it away again. Got it? If you do, I'm really going to punish you next time." I stared at him in surprise. Marcus had always been a bit of a neat freak. I never imagined he'd dig through the trash. For a brief moment, something tugged at my heart, seeing that I didn't immediately throw it away. He let out a relieved sigh. His voice softened. "I have to head to school early. I want to get familiar with the campus first. When you arrive, I'll already know all the best places to eat. Be good, okay? Let's stop fighting. And Iris has always treated you so well. What you said really hurt her. A cold breeze swept through me. The tiny warmth I just felt vanished without a trace. Even now, he still thought I was the one making a scene. We'd known each other for over 10 years. Didn't he know what kind of person I was? Just as I was about to hand the kite back, I heard Iris calling from outside the neighborhood. Marcus, hurry up! She cupped her hands around her mouth and shouted dramatically. The moment she saw me, her expression stiffened. Then she smiled and hurried over, pulling her suitcase behind her. Clara, you're back from your trip. The two suitcases ended up side by side. One light blue, one light pink, a matching couple set from the same brand. I missed you so much. Come here, give me a hug. I took a step back. She hugged nothing but air, awkwardly lowering her arms. Iris's eyes immediately reddened. She looked toward Marcus. I'll wait for you outside. I thought Marcus would do what he always did. Defend her. Blame me. Instead, he lowered his head and spoke to me. Clara, my flight's at 1 this afternoon, so I really have to go. When you've booked your ticket, let me know. I'll pick you up at the airport. Oh, and remember to take me off your blacklist. I've missed you so much. Did you miss me? He looked at me expectantly, as though he already knew the answer. I answered calmly. No. Oh, you didn't? He deliberately dragged out the words. He sounded disappointed, but the smile hidden in his eyes gave him away. I used to embarrass easily. Whenever I missed him, I'd deliberately say the opposite. I don't miss you. I don't like you. He'd always known I was just pretending. But this time, I meant every word. He misunderstood. Fine. Then you don't miss me. We'll see how stubborn you are once you get to Peking. He ruffled my hair. I'm leaving. He turned around. The midday sun filtered through the trees, scattering patches of light across his back. His tall, confident figure looked exactly the same as it always had. But this time, I wasn't going to run after him anymore. Marcus. I called his name. He turned around. Sunlight shimmered through his bangs. What is it? A proud smile appeared on his face. What? Missing me already? But suddenly, I realized there was nothing left to say. All the memories we'd shared surged through my mind, but memories were all they were now. There was no going back. In the end, I simply said, "Have a safe trip." His eyes lit up. He dropped his suitcase, ran back, and wrapped me in a quick hug. Okay, I'll wait for you. He never would. After he left, I turned around and threw the little kite into the trash. Chapter 10. 2 days later, I boarded a flight to Suzhou. My parents and I spent 3 days there. I fell in love with the city. It made me even more grateful that I hadn't followed Marcus to Peking. One day, I came across a quote online. Life has a way of letting everyone who loves sincerely discover the truth, one way or another. Looking back now, everything that happened on the day we submitted our college applications was like a fuse, slowly burning, until it revealed everything hidden beneath the surface. My class monitor later told me that if she hadn't sensed something was wrong between us at the graduation banquet, she never would have sent me those posts. Looking back, everything had happened at exactly the right time. On my first day of college, I was so busy that I collapsed into bed the moment I got back to my dorm. It wasn't until the next morning that I noticed 99 missed calls. Every one of them came from the same unfamiliar Peking number. After hesitating for a while, I called back. The other side answered almost instantly. Clara, where are you? I've searched the entire Department of Materials Engineering, and I still can't find you. Did you not come to register yet? I didn't go to Peking Foreign Studies University. I cut him off. I didn't go to Peking either. Marcus. I'm at Southern University. In Suzhou. Something crashed to the floor on his end. What? Marcus exploded almost immediately. Why? You've never even lived away from home. You don't know anyone there. Why would you go all the way to Suzhou? This was such a major decision. Why didn't you discuss it with me first? Why should I have discussed it with you? I asked calmly. When you changed your first choice university from Tsinghua to Peking University because of Iris. Did you discuss it with me? The line fell silent. After a long pause, his irritated voice returned. So we're back to Iris again. I seriously don't understand you. She's your best friend. Why are you always picking fights with her? I already explained what happened that day. We didn't leave you behind on purpose. We were busy talking to the teacher to confirm our university choices. That was one of the biggest decisions of our lives. I'd expected him to say something like that. Even so, hearing those words still made my whole body tremble. The person I'd grown up with suddenly felt like a complete stranger. The anger I'd been holding back finally burst out. Right. You two are the elite students headed for Tsinghua and Peking University. Of course your college applications were the biggest decision of your lives. But mine didn't matter because I'm just an ordinary student. Marcus, when you waited until the last 10 minutes before the deadline to call me, did it ever occur to you that my computer could have crashed? Or that something could have happened and I might have missed the deadline? What would have happened to my future then? And while all that was happening, what were you and Iris doing? Bickering? Or flirting with each other? What the hell are you talking about? Marcus roared. There was nothing going on between Iris and me. She's your friend. I only got along with her because of you. Oh, really? I let out a quiet laugh. Then the two of you going swimming together, and her feeding you ice cream, was that for my sake too? The other end went completely silent. A moment later, Marcus spoke again, his voice filled with panic. Clara, you don't have to explain. I interrupted him. I don't want to hear it anymore. We've already broken up. From now on, don't contact me again. Neither you, nor Iris. I hung up, then blocked his number once and for all. Chapter 11. I took a deep breath, got out of bed, and went to class. What I didn't expect was to see Marcus waiting outside my dorm when I came back that evening. He looked travel-worn after the long trip, yet he was still as tall and handsome as ever. My roommates exchanged knowing looks, giggled, and quickly disappeared upstairs. Clara. Marcus strode over and handed me a paper bag. I bought these famous pastries from Peking. I waited in line for an hour. Give them a try. A wave of irritation washed over me. I'd already spent an exhausting day in class. I simply didn't have the energy to deal with him anymore. Marcus. I've already said everything I needed to say. What else do you want? For the first time in my life, the endlessly confident Marcus looked flustered and helpless. Clara. At the swimming center. I only took a bite of her ice cream because I instinctively thought the person beside me was you. She's your best friend. No matter how awful I might be, I'd never get involved with her. I won't even talk to her anymore, okay? Just don't ignore me. The night breeze stirred his hair. For the first time, I saw grievance and vulnerability in those familiar eyes. If he'd said all of this on the day we submitted our college applications, I probably would have forgiven him. After all, he was the person I'd loved for 13 years. But now, it was too late. Do you really think this is only about the swimming center? I looked into the distance, my voice calm. The day we submitted our applications, I went to buy 3 cups of milk tea. When I came back, you and Iris had already walked away. You were walking shoulder to shoulder, so close. There wasn't even room left for me. I stood there for a very long time. But neither of you came back to look for me. Neither of you even called to ask where I was. At that moment, I felt completely unnecessary. Do you know, I stayed up for so many nights secretly practicing games. I even found people online to teach me because I wanted to play with you. But you didn't even give me a chance. You looked at me once, said I wasn't as good as Iris, and let her play instead. Marcus, I know I'm not as smart as Iris, but ever since we were kids, I've spent my whole life trying to catch up with you. I was always afraid I'd hold you back. But you've never truly treated me as your equal. I don't want to keep being your little pet. And I don't want to keep chasing after you anymore. That's the real reason I broke up with you. Marcus stared at me in shock. His eyes slowly turned red. Even so, he still refused to give up. That day, Iris told me you'd already gone home. That's why I didn't look for you. And when I called you silly, I was only teasing you. You're the person I love. How could I actually think you're stupid? I changed my first choice university to Peking University because I knew you and Iris were so close. I thought it would make you happy. The only person I've ever loved is you. I'll change everything you talked about. Please, don't break up with me. Clara, can you just hug me? I smiled and gently shook my head. It's not right anymore. You should go back. Marcus. I paused for a moment before adding softly. Big brother. His whole body froze. He looked at me in disbelief, as though the ground beneath him had disappeared. Our families would still see each other, but from this day forward, he would be nothing more than the boy next door. Nothing more. Chapter 12. I went back to my dorm and slept soundly through the night. The next morning, I heard that Marcus had stood downstairs outside the dorm all night. One of my roommates came over, grinning. Clara, how could you be so heartless? He's such a handsome guy. I rolled my eyes. Oh, then you can go admire him. Just don't expect to eat hot pot with us tonight. She immediately made an X with her arms. No way. Handsome guys can't compete with hot pot. Life settled into its usual routine: class, cafeteria, dorm. Busy, but fulfilling. What I didn't expect was that after Marcus left, Iris showed up. I hadn't spoken to her in a long time. She was still the same as ever. The moment she saw me, she grabbed my arm and started trying to make peace between us, as if I were the one who had done something wrong. Clara, stop being mad at Marcus. He's been distracted every single day this past month. The professors have already scolded him several times. He treated you so well before. Just take pity on him for once and make the first move. You've already run this far just because you were upset. Can't you just give in a little and comfort him? I pulled my arm free and looked at her in confusion. Why should I comfort him? You were the ones who did something wrong. Why am I the one who has to comfort him? If you feel so bad for him, then you go. I turned and walked away. The cafeteria was serving spicy braised dishes today. If I got there too late, they'd all be gone. Behind me, Iris suddenly shouted. Clara, who do you think you're fooling? With your lousy grades. Marcus and I both got into top universities, and we're taking turns trying to make up with you. What are you acting so arrogant for? I stopped walking, turning around. I saw the fury written all over Iris's face. All because we didn't wait for you on the day we submitted our college applications? Are you seriously going to be this dramatic? What? Does Marcus have to pamper you and coax you every single day? Have you read too many of those spoiled wife romance novels? Smack! I slapped her across the face. Apologize. I looked her straight in the eye. What do you mean by lousy grades and lousy university? This is the school countless people dreamed of and worked incredibly hard to get into. Apologize to my university. The students around us immediately gathered over, furious. So what if your school is better? What gives you the right to look down on us? We like South University. What's wrong with that? Who begged you to come here? She's insane. She came all the way to our campus just to insult people. Someone even pulled out a phone and started recording. Iris finally realized she'd said the wrong thing and hurried to explain. Everyone, please don't misunderstand. That's not what I meant. She's my friend. She broke up with her boyfriend over something trivial. That guy is outstanding. Because of this, he's been skipping classes every day. If this keeps up, he could even be expelled. They're both my friends. I only came here to help them get back together. One of the students suddenly remembered. Oh, is she talking about that guy who stood outside the girls' dorm all night? Even if you're trying to make peace, that's no excuse for looking down on other people. TSK. These days, sometimes the people you call friends are the ones you need to watch out for. Who knows what her real intentions are? Wow. My classmates were amazing. They didn't let her twist the narrative at all. The braised snacks were almost sold out. I really didn't have time to keep arguing with her. I opened the post my class monitor had sent me and held my phone right in front of Iris's face. Iris, if you like Marcus, then just admit it and go after him. Stop using me as a stepping stone to make it look like you and he are the perfect match, okay? Her face instantly turned pale. Why, you knew all along? No wonder you. My roommates crowded around and glanced at my phone. Holy crap! She deliberately tricked Clara just to get a chance to meet that guy. I bet she's been driving a wedge between Clara and her ex this whole time. I didn't. Iris protested. Yes, I like Marcus. but I never tried to ruin their relationship. Their breakup wasn't my fault either. Clara, my conscience is completely clear. My conscience is completely clear. What a joke. I pulled up the video of them at the swimming pool and shoved it in front of her. What kind of decent person goes swimming alone with her friend's boyfriend, then feeds him ice cream she's already licked? Iris, is admitting you like Marcus really that embarrassing? The anger on Iris's face suddenly froze. Her expression slowly twisted. Yes, it is embarrassing. I'm so much better than you. Why does he only like you? Just because you grew up together? Why? Only outstanding people deserve to be loved. Who do you think you are? Why should you be the one he loves? Do you expect me to admit I'm inferior to you, when I'm clearly better than you in every way? I stared at her. She had completely lost it. She was independent, intelligent, and an excellent student. How had she ended up tying her entire sense of worth to whether a man loved her? For a moment, I almost felt sorry for her, but she had brought this on herself. I didn't want to waste another second on this. I turned and walked away. Then Iris suddenly snapped. She grabbed a thermos from the ground and hurled it at me. Bang! Scalding water and shattered glass exploded everywhere with a deafening crash. But the pain I expected never came. A tall figure stepped in front of me, shielding me. It was Marcus. Chapter 13. It wasn't boiling water. Marcus wasn't seriously hurt. His back was covered with shards of glass, and it took the doctor quite a while to remove them all. Since we had known each other for so long, I accompanied Marcus to the campus clinic. But that was all. This whole mess had started because of him. I wasn't about to mistake his actions for some heroic rescue and be blindly moved by it. I handed him his medicine. He looked overwhelmed with guilt. Clara, I'm sorry. I didn't handle this properly. As soon as I found out Iris had gone to see you, I booked the first flight over. But I was still too late. Marcus, we've already broken up. I was genuinely tired of saying it. Do you not understand plain English? Can you two please stop dragging me into your problems? Marcus stared at me in shock, his voice trembling. Yes, we've broken up, but I still want to win you back. Clara, I only just found out about that post. What Iris did was her choice, not mine. From the very beginning, the only person I've ever loved is you. You can't take away my chance to pursue you again because of what she did. I never committed some unforgivable mistake. I never betrayed you. You don't need to dump all the blame on Iris. I cut him off. She had a crush on you. That's her business. But if you had set proper boundaries from the beginning and put my feelings first, none of this would have happened. Betrayal isn't limited to holding hands or kissing. The moment you stood on her side and ignored my words, my feelings, and me, you had already betrayed me. I stood up. This is the last time. If either of you comes to bother me again, I'll call the police. When I returned to my dorm, I received a text from an unknown number. Clara, I'm sorry. I promise I won't appear in your life again. I didn't reply. I blocked the number and deleted the message. Chapter 14. After that, I never saw Marcus or Iris again, but I later heard from my class monitor that after Iris confessed her feelings to Marcus and was rejected, the two of them completely fell out. Marcus blamed Iris for interfering in our relationship and causing our breakup. Iris accused Marcus of enjoying the emotional ambiguity between them while pretending to be deeply devoted. The once famous star duo of our grade had completely turned against each other. To avoid Iris, Marcus applied to become an exchange student overseas. Iris, meanwhile, received a major disciplinary sanction for insulting other universities and intentionally injuring someone. The post online was eventually deleted. During the summer before my senior year, my family moved into a new house. Because of everything that had happened between Marcus and me, things were awkward whenever our parents met. So on the night before we moved away, my parents didn't invite his family over for dinner. The next morning, I found a kite model made of wooden pieces outside our front door. It was even more delicate and beautiful than the one before. Attached to it was a note, wishing you smooth sailing in everything you do and a brilliant future. I accepted it, then casually placed it in the storage room of our new home. After that, I buried myself in my research. I was accepted into my university's graduate program without taking the entrance exam, and I decided to stay in Suzhou after graduation. My parents fully supported my decision. That was why they sold our old house and moved with me to settle down in Suzhou. I thought Marcus and I would never see each other again. But unexpectedly, I ran into Iris at an inter-university academic workshop. She had also been admitted to graduate school. When she saw me, she froze for a moment before hurriedly looking away. That afternoon, we crossed paths again in a hallway. There was no one else around, just the two of us. I had let everything go long ago. It didn't matter anymore. I simply gave her a small nod. Clara. Just as I was about to walk past, she called out to me. When I was growing up, my parents only treated me a little better when I got good grades or did well. So I always believed that only outstanding people deserved to be loved. Then I saw how well Marcus treated you. I couldn't understand it. I became consumed by jealousy. And that's why I did so many stupid things. Looking back, what I felt for Marcus wasn't really love. It was my obsession with winning. I just couldn't stand losing to you. But honestly, those years when we were friends were some of the happiest years of my life. I'm sorry. Her voice caught at the end, but I couldn't comfort her. I didn't even know how. Maybe everyone had their own reasons back then, but hurt was still hurt. Some things couldn't simply be erased. So that was that. As I walked out of the building, the sky was bright and cloudless. I closed my eyes and quietly enjoyed the rare warmth of the winter sun. Senior, a junior called out from behind me. It's your turn to give the presentation. Coming. I straightened my clothes and strode confidently back inside. I had spent an entire month preparing for this presentation. It was a complete success. Thunderous applause filled the room. The younger students sat below the stage, looking at me with admiration shining in their eyes. At the end, the host asked if I had anything I wanted to say. Looking into those bright, expectant faces, I suddenly remembered the timid, insecure girl I had been years ago, the girl who believed her world would fall apart if she lost Marcus. It turned out, it really wasn't the end of the world. After a moment of thought, I smiled and said, "Don't be afraid to walk alone. We are all the sun in our own sky. May you stand tall with unyielding spirit. May you move forward with courage and confidence. And may I do the same, standing tall, moving forward, and shining as the sun of my own life."